Ur-Nammu, also written Ur-Nammu or Ur-Engur, founded the third dynasty of Ur in southern Mesopotamia after centuries of Akkadian and Gutian rule. He built temples and canals, but his greatest achievement was forging the Ur Third Empire through conquest. He is best known for the Code of Ur-Nammu, the oldest surviving law code, and for beginning the great ziggurat of Ur. He held the titles King of Ur and King of Sumer and Akkad, and his personal goddess was Ninsuna. According to the Sumerian king list, he ruled for 18 years. Year names survive for most of those years and celebrate major acts of his reign, including the defeat of Gutium and sweeping legal reforms. He conquered cities such as Lagash, defeated his former overlords at Uruk, and was formally confirmed as a regional ruler at Nippur. He built or restored works at Nippur, Larsa, Kish, Adab, Umma, and elsewhere, repaired roads, and restored order after the Gutian period. His inscriptions claim victories over a coalition that included an Elamite ruler and cities like Tutub and Eshnuna. Ur-Nammu ordered the construction of several ziggurats, most famously the Great Ziggurat of Ur. Later tradition suggests he died in battle after being abandoned by his army. He was succeeded by his son, Shulgi. One daughter, Ammabarag, married locally. Another became the high priestess of the moon god Nanna in Ur and took the priestly name Enirgal-Anna. Inscriptions from Ur record dedications made in his honor to the goddess Ningal. Sumerian literary texts about Ur-Nammu list canals he built and recount his death, funeral, and journey through the underworld. These texts survive in damaged tablets, but allow much of the story to be reconstructed. The description of his death is unclear and symbolic, though some later scholars inferred he died in battle. Scholars debate whether Ur-Nammu was deified after death. Many now think he was not, since later texts do not mark his name as divine, and themes of divine abandonment appear in the literature about his death. Regardless, he was honored in cult after his death. The palace at Tumul had funerary chapels for him and for his wife, Watertum. Funerary offerings for Ur-Nammu were made at Tumul, leading some to suggest he may have been buried there, as no grave has been found in Ur. His year names record the milestones of his rule, such as becoming king, establishing justice, building the city wall of Ur, building the temple of Nanna, destroying Gutium, building the temple of Enlil, digging a major canal, building the temple of Ninsun in Ur, and installing the god Lugal-Bagara in his temple. These names give a clear picture of a king who combined warfare, law-giving, and grand building to rebuild Sumerian power. Fragments of the Ur-Nammu stela were uncovered during excavations at Ur in the 1920s, mainly in 1925, by Leonard Woolley and his team from the joint expedition of the Penn Museum and the British Museum. The discovery was made in the courtyard of the Dublal-Ma temple and its entrance chamber. Scattered across the pavement were many limestone fragments, large and small, belonging to one or possibly two large stelae about 5 feet wide and 15 feet tall. These were covered on both sides with finely carved reliefs. Some pieces were very well preserved, while others had been badly damaged by weathering and salt. The reliefs had been deliberately smashed, and the fragments were scattered across the site. The first researcher to publish the discovery called it the Stela of the Flying Angels. Most fragments were found near the base of the structure, though some had been reused later, such as in door sockets, and were discovered in layers dating to the Kassite period, over 500 years after Ur-Nammu's reign. One large piece was found during the 1932 to 1933 excavation season. Since some fragments were found in the layer marking the fall of the Ur Third Empire, it is believed that the stela was destroyed at the end of King Ibi-Sin's reign, and the remains were later reused by the Kassites. The stela, made of limestone, measures about 3 meters high and 1.52 meters wide, if reconstructed correctly. It has been reassembled several times since 1927, each time slightly differently. The reconstruction is based on a few principles. One side is better preserved, the figures are larger near the top, and the edges are smooth. Scholars think the original stela had 5 horizontal panels on each side. The scenes depicted and their meanings remain subjects of debate. When the stela was taken apart in 1989 for study, mineral tests showed that some fragments did not actually belong to it, while other stored pieces were identified as part of the monument. In total, 106 fragments have been confirmed, including one in the British Museum. The stela and the Utu-Hegel stela were found together, and the fragments were divided between the 2 sponsoring institutions. The exact reconstruction of the stela is still uncertain. Today, it is housed at the University of Pennsylvania Museum.